Continuing with our ha breath. When you're ready, simply becoming aware of the breath in the body. Finding the next exhale. On our next exhale, we're letting the knees sway over to the left. Pause just for a moment when the body is ready to inhale. Flow the knees to the original position. And then exhale, let the knees sway over to the right. We're keeping this rhythm of one breath with one movement. Inhaling, knees come up. At the top of the breath, we're grounded at center. Exhale, twist it over to the other side. Continue to alternate the twist on the exhale. We can always make the exhale a little longer than the inhale. We could continue to breathe out from the throat with the mouth open. Again, when we relax the jaw, potentially relaxing the hips, low back and spine a little more. And maybe with the jaw more relaxed, maybe we find a little more mobility. Let's take our time to do one more on each side. There's absolutely no rush. When you feel that that stretch is balanced out for your body, we meet at center. Focusing again on that deep diaphragmatic breath, breathing down into the belly, and maybe letting the breath build up into your heart. Exhale from the top down, centering the body with a familiar breath in a familiar place. Bring awareness to the left leg. Inhale, exhale, lift the left leg. Draw the knee in towards the chest, squeezing the thigh into the lowest part of the belly. Inhale, relax the leg down. Exhale, lift the right leg. Continuing to move with the breath, alternating that leg on every exhale. Bringing the thigh in close to the stomach and ribs. Every time we exhale, we're applying gentle pressure into the abdominal region, not only helping to stretch along the back sides of the leg and hip, into the buttocks and lower spine, but also possibly helping with digestion and elimination processes. Continue to relax the jaw, especially on those longer exhales. Let's do just one more on each side. You could always pause to hold the stretch a little longer. When you feel that you have that stretch evened out on the left and the right, bring both knees in towards the chest. We'll point and flex our feet, stimulating a little more circulation in the lower parts of the legs. We could even roll the ankles out. Option to take the knees out wide, maybe to about the width of the shoulders, and rock side to side. So we make this a very playful, happy baby position. When you're ready, bring it to center. Let's bring the knees into the width of the shoulders and lower our feet down. Inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. Nice big stretch from the side ribs. Exhale, lower the hands down beside the hips. Let the knees sway again left and right. loosening up any energy in the low back and hips. Come to center. Let's begin a little more weight bearing in the ankles and feet, pressing the palms down into the floor. As we inhale, we push into our feet, tilt the pelvis, and maybe after that pelvis tilt, we lift the hips off the floor into bridge. Exhale, lower down and reach the arms overhead. Inhale, lower the hands and tilt the pelvis. Option to push straight down into the feet, lifting the hips off of the floor into bridge. Exhale, hips come down, arms move overhead, coordinating the upper and lower body with our breath. Inhale, hands down, tilt the pelvis, keep breathing in and lift the hips. Exhale, bring the belly and hips down, reach overhead. Just one more time through that flowing bridge. Inhale, pull in the navel, tuck the pelvis, hands go down, push down into the feet and hover the hips. Exhaling, lowering down, reaching overhead. From here, we can always straighten both legs, keeping the toes pointed, stretching out into a stick. Imagining that you have someone gently tugging on the ankles and tugging up on the hands. We might even reach so dynamically that our middle back pulls away from the floor and you can press your hips and tailbones down, coming into a restorative fish expression. One more big inhale, stretching the stomach and the ribs. Exhale, relax the ribs and belly. Let the arms come down beside the body. Let's bend our knees and roll over onto one side. Holding it there for at least a breath or two, allowing the breath and various energies in the body to organize themselves. We're using our top hand to push up, coming into an easy seated position. Legs can be extended if that's more comfortable, or you can fold your legs in at the ankles, whatever you want. Sitting on a pillow, sitting on a blanket is always an option. Let's roll the shoulders back. As we inhale, we're sweeping the arms up and overhead, maybe looking up. Palms forward as we exhale to sweep it back. It's like a big backstroke movement. Inhaling, sweeping up and overhead. Palms forward, elbows bend, exhale. Option to close the eyes. We're keeping that rhythm of sweeping the arms with the breath. Noticing when your body says it's time to inhale or it's time to exhale. Waiting for the breath to initiate the movement. This way we are making that space between the stimulus, the awareness of what the body is doing, making that space between the stimulus and the action. Ultimately, this is just to encourage a little bit more awareness in that space. Let's do at least a couple more big inhales and big exhales, practicing that pause, that place where we wait for the breath to cue us. When you're ready, inhaling both arms straight up and overhead. We're taking a soft twist over to the right, reaching across with your left hand, letting the right hand come down behind the body, turning to look over the right shoulder. Inhale, bring the arms up overhead. Nice big flow with both arms reaching towards the sun or towards the ceiling. Sorry, no sun today. Exhale, twist to the left. Right arm goes across, left hand down, looking over your left shoulder. So we'll keep this rhythm a few times. Inhale, flow it up overhead. Exhale, twist it over to the right. Not too deep of a twist. Inhale, bring it up. Not twisting too much. We want to make sure the movement is kind of conservative. Exhale, over. Let's do one more on each side. Inhale, lift. Usually the faster we're moving, the less we want to force the range of motion. Last one, inhale up. Exhale, twist it over to the left. Nice big swivel in the waist and ribs. Inhale, bring it up and overhead. Looking straight up. Exhale, swan dive, seated swan dive, arms out to the side. Relax the chin into the chest. Let your spine round softly, creating a C shape. Practice breathing down into the low back. So while we're here, we are softly contracted in our stomachs. The spine is in forward flexion. Our body has an opportunity to move the breath along the back sides of the lungs, along the side of the spine. Breathing down into the low back, through the middle back, up under the shoulder blades. And as you exhale, relax your shoulders, your middle back, the low back of the pelvis. Let's practice 2 more like this. Inhaling down into the low back, allowing the breath to roll up through the middle back, under the shoulder blades. Exhale, maybe shift forward a little more on the exhale. Inhale, maybe come up a little bit. Exhale, maybe go forward a little more. On the next inhale, breathe into the low back and begin to stack the spine from the lowest parts of the hips through the middle back. Last of all, lifting the neck and the head. Let's uncross our legs or bend the knees if you have your legs straight. Take the knees to one side and come around into all fours position. Moving into our cat and cow flow, remembering cat and cow can be done from a seated position. If we have a yoga block accessible, take it between your knees and thighs. Noticing how the wrists feel here. If there's any pain with a flat palm, you can always come down onto your elbows instead. You'll get the same energetic benefits. As we inhale, we're dropping the belly, looking maybe just to the top of our mat so that our neck is able to ease into this extension. Maybe looking forward a little more. I recommend moving the eyeballs up first and then shifting the head to match the gaze. One more big inhale. Exhale, pull the stomach up, tuck the tailbone under, and drop the head. Hold it here with the inhale. Breathe into the middle part of your back. Feel the breath pushing up between the shoulder blades and behind your heart on the inhale. One more exhale. Now inhale, transition into cow. Dropping the belly, flip the hips back, looking forward. Keep breathing easy, shift the eyes a little more, and then maybe lift the head so that the movement of the body follows the gaze. And again, you're making that space between shifting the eyes and then choosing to move the body. One more big inhale. Exhale, contract the belly, tuck under through the tailbone and hips, and drop the head. Hold it here, inhale and exhale. Inhale into cow. One more time to follow the gaze. Shifting the eyes, moving the head. This is a practice of drishti with asana, focal point. Finding your next exhale, round the spine, and we'll hold it through an inhale and through an exhale again. Exaggerating the breath between the shoulder blades. On the next inhale, beginning that choreographed flow with cat and cow. Inhale into cow, exhale into cat. Breathing in through the nose. Keep the lips together and imagine you're trying to fold a mirror with the lips touching. This will transition us into Ujjayi breath. Inhale, extension, cow pose. Exhale, cow breath. One more set through. Actively warming up the spine and still working on stabilizing. Let's come to all fours, neutral position. Taking our block towards the top of the mat. We're walking our hands forward or slide the elbows forward and start pressing the hips back towards the heels into child's pose. Your hips may or may not touch the heels. Truly capturing the essence of the pose, it's going to be in being able to soften your back while reaching the arms forward just a little bit, opening up the sides of the lungs and stretching through the sides of the spine. Walk your hands over to the left edge of your mat, maybe even take the left hand off of your mat. You could take the right hand off the mat as well if it's a comfortable reach. Imagine that you're pushing your right hip back over your right heel while we're reaching with both hands towards the left, creating a nice big side bend for the spine, opening up the liver. When you're ready, let's walk our hands slowly to neutral. Pause there for at least a full inhale and exhale. Centering the energy in the body, this is our foundation. Taking the cue from the breath, slowly walking the hands over to the right. Maybe the right hand goes off the mat. Push the hips over the left heel, reaching with the fingertips while the weight pulls back through the hips. Find the breath underneath your left armpit, flaring out the ribs. Soften the body and the breath as you prepare, moving to center again, walking the hands slowly, finding our foundation of Balasana, child's pose. Thinking about how we might want to eventually make our way up into standing. We do have our traditional pattern of movement that I will guide us through, but of course you can come to standing in any way that feels safe for you. We look forward towards the thumbs and towards our yoga block at the top of the mat. Inhaling, shifting forward. We may be able to grab our block. I'm grabbing it with my right hand. From here, I'm stepping my left foot forward, placing my left hand on top of the thigh. Tucking my back right toe, I'm shifting forward, pushing straight down into my block. Coming into a standing forward fold. We'll take our block between the knees and the thighs. Finding mountain pose. From mountain position, having our feet open to about the width of the pelvis bones, we have our ankles, knees, and hips at the same width. We're extending both arms straight up and overhead, reaching towards the sky. Shifting the eyes to look maybe to where the wall meets the ceiling, and then lifting the head to match the gaze. Inhale big into your upper chest and reach a little more at the top of the breath. Exhale, come to center, shifting forward. We're looking down, imagining that you have an egg on the top of your head and you want that egg to roll off. Lifting the heels just a little bit. We're keeping the knees soft and pressing with those inner thighs. We're squeezing the block. If you don't have a block, it's okay. You could just imagine that you have a yoga block there, and in times where we want to improvise, you can always roll up a bath towel, and that is just as effective. Let's drop our heels. Inhale in place, big breath. As you exhale, take your arms out to the side. Bring the hands onto the thighs. Let's walk our hands to the knees and maybe even down to the shins, relaxing the neck and the head. We're shaking the head yes, and turning it left and right. Try relaxing the jaw. This way we're attempting to make the most use out of gravity, hopefully creating a little bit of traction in the spine. Why is that a good thing? because that will stretch the vertebra, which is going to make more space for the disc to breathe. Big inhale, bigger exhale, use gravity. Imagine you're like a rag doll, you're just going to hang out. One more big exhale. Hands are on the shins or thighs for support. Let's press into the thighs to bring our spine to neutral. From neutral, we're taking our block down onto the floor. I'm just going to rotate my mat, that way I'm a little more visible for the next few poses, but you might notice me moving around a little more to stay within the frame. Starting in mountain position, let's take the arms overhead, stepping your left foot back and bending the right knee. Finding warrior one. Holding in warrior one, let's flip our right palm up and hold on to the left wrist. Inhale, pull the left wrist up. So you're almost trying to pull up and out of your left armpit. Press into the inner arches of the feet while you continue to bend that right knee. Push back hard into the left heel. Breathe into that upper left lung and pull up a little more. We're leaning just a little bit over to the right. I would say it's less of an active lean to the right. It's more so that we are so actively opening and stretching the left side that we have this natural reciprocal movement where it feels like we're leaning, but really we're stretching up more. When you're ready, come through center, reach both arms straight up overhead, circle back with that left hand 3 times. We're circling down past the left hip. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, back and around. One more big breath in. Reach it up. Exhale, back. Bending the left elbow, bringing the knuckles to your low back. If this feels uncomfortable on your shoulders, on your neck, if you feel it in your jaw even, put your left hand on your hip. From here, we're taking our right hand forward, sweeping it past the hip. We're circling around 3 times again, taking it down. Inhale, lift it up and open. Exhale down, last one. Inhale up, hold it up. Imagine you're holding on to 100 helium balloons. Big reach. Now bend the right elbow and pat yourself on the back. If you're noticing any pain at all in the shoulders, spine, jaw, lower the elbow down. From here, close the eyes, working on center of gravity. The legs are doing asymmetrical things. The arms are doing asymmetrical things. Because we broke out of that box of symmetry, this is going to create a little more work for the brain to the body. Closing the eyes, immediately recruiting a little bit of an element of balance and spatial awareness. Keep lunging forward. Imagine that your right hip is pressing back. Maybe dig down into that left heel and push your left hip forward a little more. Breathe into the upper right lung this time. Imagine you're reaching with your right elbow and maybe it feels like you're leaning to the left a little bit. And again, you don't have to actively lean. This is a reciprocating movement. The more we lengthen the right side of the body, that will cause a shortening or a little tiny lean into the left side of the body. One more big breath into that upper right lung. Exhale, come to center. Open the eyes, looking down, grounding your drishti. Let's take our right hand to the low back, straightening our right leg, lifting the chin to neutral, shift the eyes up. And now maybe looking up again to where the wall meets the ceiling or up to the ceiling itself. Breathe into the center of the chest and pull the elbows back a little more.
allowing the ribs to protrude out and the sternum and collarbones to lift. We're in a standing chest expansion. One more big inhale. Exhale, drop your chin down, look at the floor. Start to keep both knees soft, maybe even check in. And now push your hips back. And as you're pushing your hips back with that split stance, you're lowering the chest down. Look down at your right big toe or look down at your right shin or right knee so that this encourages your neck, shoulders, and upper back to relax. One more big inhale in place. Exhale, relax. Release the hands. The hands might go down to the thighs, the right shin. Your arms could dangle towards the floor. They might touch the floor. Practice the exhale from the throat, remembering the more we exhale, the greater the potential there is to open and stretch your hips, your low back, and the pelvis. One more big exhale. To safely exit the pose, we bend our right knee and walk both hands up onto the right thigh, straightening the arms so that we prop up our head higher than our heart and hips, balancing blood pressure. Take the arms out, airplane expression, and now inhale, sweep them overhead. We're in the original foundation of Warrior One. From here, we're stepping forward. Feet are open to the width of your pelvis bones. Inhale, reach up, maybe even look up. Big breath in. Keep the hands lifted. Exhale, drop the chin down. Look at the floor. Shifting forward. Imagine the yoga block between the knees. Squeeze in. Push down into the inner and outer blades of the feet. Shifting forward. Little lift of the heels in our extended mountain expression. Drop the heels. Circle the arms back. Let's find mountain pose. Closing the eyes. At least 2 or 3 grounding breaths here. Finding a little bit of symmetry in the body to create a safe foundation before we begin to layer in those different balancing and spatial awareness techniques. Inhaling, arms sweeping up overhead. This time we're stepping our right foot back, bending the left knee for Warrior One. Keeping a bend in that left knee. I heard it. As long as there's no bright lights, dizziness, nausea, or vomiting, right? That was a good one. Shifting forward, bending the left knee, pushing back and down into the right heel. Maybe just take a moment and feel the outer edge of your right foot and the inner edge of the right foot. So one of the most common misalignments is that the edge of that right foot peels up. So just push back really hard. Inhale, reaching up dynamically. We're flipping our left palm up. No, don't do that one. Flip your right palm up. Hold on with the left hand to the right wrist. Inhale, pull up just a little bit. Again, it might feel like you're leaning over. You'd be leaning towards the left this time. It's not a forced side bend as much as it is that we're concentrating on lengthening the body. Keep pushing back dynamically through that right heel, through the back of the right knee, also pushing back. Inhale into the upper part of your right lung and lift a little more. Naturally, at the top of the breath, the lungs are expanding, opening up the body, making a little bit more mobility accessible to us. On the exhale, we'll feel that those muscles try to shrink or retract back. One more big inhale. And now exhale, bring it to center, reaching both arms up and overhead. From here, we're reaching back with that right hand. Inhale, sweep the right arm back, and then bring it up to center. Inhale, open. You can even turn just a little bit towards the right, introducing just a little bit of rotation. One more, big inhale. Let's bend the right elbow and take the right knuckles to the low back. Reach forward with the left hand as if you're going to shake hands with someone. Having that left arm forward. Inhale, sweep it back past your hip. Reach it up as you inhale, pause. Exhale, bring it forward. Inhale, sweep and reach. Exhale down, one more. Big inhale, reach it up, hold it there, holding on to 100 helium balloons. Pat yourself on the back. And just a gentle reminder, just like before, if you're noticing any pain at all, you can always reposition the hands. It would be right hand to the hip and left hand to be on your shoulder with the elbow low. From wherever you are, keeping that active bend into the left knee, push back hard into the right heel. Both elbows are stretching in opposite directions. As you inhale, imagine you're reaching up with your left elbow. Again, we might feel like we're leaning to the right this time, but we're not leaning. It is a reciprocating movement because of the energy on the left side of the body. One more big inhale, open up. Exhale. When you're ready, bring both hands to the low back. With both hands at our low back, we're straightening our left leg, making sure that the knees are unlocked. Inhale, pull the elbows back. Start by looking forward, and then shift the eyes up to where the wall meets the ceiling. Lift the chin a little more. Maybe gaze goes to the ceiling itself, and maybe we open the throat just a little more. Inhaling into the heart. Draw the elbows and shoulder blades back. You could always act surprised. One really quick way to get the shoulder blades back is to imagine that somebody just dropped a big chunk of ice down the back of your shirt. It's that feeling of retracting back with the shoulders, pushing the chest forward. One more big inhale. Exhale, drop the chin, look forward, relax any excessive tension in your body. Check in with the knees. Let's lift our hips back. Imagine that your right hip is trying to push forward while your left hip is pressing back. This is not to encourage rotation in the hips, but rather to encourage neutrality. Naturally, as we lower, for most of us, our right hip is going to try to come up. So you're pushing that right hip forward, countering the stretch that goes across your hips, down the back of your left leg. Keep that soft bend in your left knee. Inhale in place. Exhale, relax a little more. Let the head hang loose. Maybe the hands leave the back. Support the spine with hands on your thighs. Hands on the shin, press into the inner blades of the feet. Pull the muscles up in your pelvic floor. Hands can dangle towards the floor. Hang like a rag doll, especially hanging the head and neck nice and loose. Big exhale. One more. Let's softly bend the left knee and walk the hands up the legs, taking our sweet time until we have the head slightly lifted. From here, bringing the arms up and overhead, finding the original Warrior One foundation. Exhale, relax the hands and step forward into mountain pose. Inhaling, arms sweep up and overhead. Option to close the eyes. Exhale, sweep the hands back. Symmetry with movement. Two more. Inhale, big sweep up. Exhale, sweeping back. Just one more. Big breath in. And sweep it back. Inhale, bringing both arms up and overhead. Exhale, swan diving down. We're hanging loose in a forward fold, Uttanasana, considering how our bodies might want to come down to the floor, coming to all fours again. I am having my hands close to the floor in front of me. I do have my yoga block, so I can have the block under left or right hand. This is my right hand. I'm placing my left hand on my thigh as I slide my right foot back, bending both knees, coming into the kneeling lunge. Hands go down to the floor, sweeping that left leg back. From here, we can find our foundation of child's pose again, pressing the hips back. Now, this time in child's pose, we can always experiment with touching the toes together, and we can open the knees wide. When we do this, we may be able to make space so that our ribs can lower down between the thighs. You could have the arms extended in front of the body. You could be down on your elbows as well. Sometimes having the elbows on the ground helps us to keep our head higher than the heart, and that can prevent blood pressure fluctuations that are disturbing or uncomfortable. Big inhale, bigger exhale. One more. Today we're shifting forward from child's pose and lowering down onto our bellies, walking the knees back softly. You can use the hands in front of your body like a pillow, turning your head to the left or right. Lying here in a prone position. So just lying on our bellies. First of all, it is weight bearing still. It's weight bearing into the pelvis and into the bones of the trunk of the body, into your elbows and arms. Secondly, this is also stretching, opening the front of the hip and the stomach. So it is possible to feel a strain in the back as this forces the front of the hip to open. If you're feeling any strain or pain in your low back, bend your knees. You could always touch your toes together and open the knees behind you. It's kind of like butterfly pose, having the knees open with the toes touching. Find the breath in the back of the body, especially along the sides of the spine. Breathing down into your low back, allowing the wave of the breath to move along the side of the spine, middle back, upper back, under the shoulder blades. Exhale, the breath rolls from the shoulder blades out from the hips. You could try using your stomach to breathe, and if you do, you would push your belly into the floor and really feel a rise and fall of the spine itself with each breath. Noticing how the breath influences movement in the spine. It is possible to improve overall spine health with breathing alone. In our final few moments here, breathing easy. This is our prone relaxation position. You're welcome to stay right here, or if you think you want to go ahead and make your way up into seated, we could always slide our elbows in under the body. From there, we would push into the elbows and press our hips back towards that child's pose position. From child's pose, you would press into your hands and come up to seated. So take your time, either lying on the belly, prone relaxation position, or come up to seated. Of course, rolling over onto our backs is always an option. As we close the physical practice,
peeling away those layers of identity that may over resonate with the physical form. Make this more about your breath, just the breath. Maybe noticing how the body responds to the breath. Begin to create an equal ratio breathing pattern as you inhale, counting to yourself, inhaling 1, 2, 3, pausing at the top of the breath, and then letting it go. 3, 2, 1. Inserting that pause again. Begin to deepen the breath, bringing more awareness to the body, the breath, the mind, and all other sensations. As this concludes our practice today, you can wiggle your fingers and toes. Take your time to eventually make your way into any easy seated position. From easy seated, we're taking our middle fingers and hooking them together. And then lowering them down in front of the belly, in front of the navel. Sitting nice and tall. This being our third class, we're working on the third chakra of energy. This is stimulating heat in the body, which is quite fitting when it's 34 degrees outside. Sitting tall, the chin is still lowered just a little bit. Take in a big inhale. Let it go all the way. Now maybe take in an inhale, and when you exhale, you're going to forcibly do like a hop type movement with your stomach. Let's try it one time. Big inhale. And now it's like a karate chop. Let's do 2 more. Big inhale. 1, 2, 3. Last one, inhale, big hop, and now easy breath. Let's take the palms of the hands together. That technique is called Bhastrika. Sitting nice and tall. From here, we can bow together in closing. Namaste. Let's go enjoy the rest of our beautiful day. It's a pretty day. Bye, Judy.
Not